Foods. It's always nice to be fed for one of these things, but that first session was fantastic. It wasn't the morning session, it was great. Sorry about this, some technical difficulties. I am privileged to introduce this next session, mostly because it's near and dear to my heart. Back in 2022, our hospital in North Central Florida was the first center in the United States to use the Essenz patient monitor, and we fell in love with it. It was, I think, revolutionary. Since then, and I thought it was great already, since then, LivaNova has made much more improvements to this technology. But this journey actually started years back. I had the privilege of myself and a handful of other perfusionists to be involved with some of the focus sessions, some of the validation studies, and some of the involvement in the design of the Essenz heart-lung machine, the Essenz Perfusion System, which tells me it's the commitment by LivaNova to create something that's, I think, is very special, something that was created for perfusionists by perfusionists. So today you'll be able to see this, not just the Essenz patient monitor, the new improved Essenz patient monitor, but you're also going to be able to see the entire Essenz Perfusion System. It's the Essenz Perfusion monitor and also what I believe is a state-of-the-art heart-lung machine. And to tell you a little bit about that, I'd like to introduce my friend Randi Lackritz from the Cleveland Clinic.
Hello, and thanks for having me today. My name is Randi Lackritz and I work at Cleveland Clinic. Today I will be presenting our experience with the Essenz pumps. Before I get started, I want you to figure out which one is a lie in 3 truths and 1 lie. Have I been to the lowest point on earth? Was I a contestant on a game show? Was I a professional poker player, or have I had disclosures in the past? So everybody take a minute to think, and let's see what the reveal is. Well, I was in the Dead Sea, which is the lowest point on earth, and here I am floating in it, and it's not a chair in the water, it's just me floating with a Cleveland Clinic t-shirt, and that's real. My mom and I were on the Wheel of Fortune. So I don't know, can you hear it?
From our studios in Hollywood, it's America's most watched game show.
I'm a perfusionist.
Which, of course, is. For those who don't know.
I run the heart-lung machine during heart surgery.
Oh, good. I thought you were in a band. I feel terrible about this. That's good work. What do you do away from perfusioning?
I like to play tennis and travel.
All right, and let's hear Carol's story. They're cheering in Beechwood, Ohio. Our mother-daughter team did very well. $5,000, 5 great prizes, and it's time now to pick a letter there and see which one it's going to be. Who's going to pick?
Yes, I am. W.
Mother knows best. Thank you. Come on back up here. Let's get a letter there. That G would have about the only chance you might have had.
So that was a real thing. And in the professional sense of being a poker player, I won a cruise at a poker tournament on a cruise. So if you look up Norwegian Cruise Line, I'm under the status of poker professional, but I'm clearly not. So as a side note, perfusion and poker players have a lot in common. You need patience, the ability to read someone's eyes. We're really good at that. Bluffing, or what we need to say to appease the surgeons, the ability to sit and concentrate for hours on end. I'm not saying to turn into a gambler, but if you need help, please call 859-277-8236, Gamblers Anonymous. So the 1 lie is that this is my first disclosure, and I want to thank the team of LivaNova for that. So let's get started. To give you an idea of what we do at the clinic, I've been a perfusionist at the Cleveland Clinic for over 34 years, and our numbers have grown since I first started back in the 1900s. Currently, I work with 40 other perfusionists, 21 surgeons, using 17 operating rooms. I just want to share the volume of cases we do. Our cardiac volume is over 5,000 cases per year, and this year they're projecting to get over 6,000 cases. So here's a little bit of the breakdown. This is the 2022 numbers and percentages. We don't have the exact 2023 numbers out yet, but that will come out shortly, just to give you a breakdown. Lung transplants, we actually are, I think last year we did the most in the country. And then we have obviously a VAD ECMO program. So what do these have in common? Or, I'm sorry, here's our transplant volumes for hearts too. So the next slide, what do these two things have in common? They each weigh a ton. Why am I saying that? Well, the first heart and lung machine weighed a ton by Dr. Gibbon. He worked with IBM to produce this pump, and it weighed in over 2,000 pounds, and it was first used in the 1950s. I'm just glad that Essenz came along so we can push heavy equipment a lot easier than the first heart lung machine. So here we've come a long way, and the Essenz pump weighs less than 400 pounds, and it is easily movable. To put it in terms to reflect New Orleans, or Nolans, the Essenz pump weighs approximately the same as 12,000 crawfish. So mobility is important to us as perfusionists, especially where I'm at. We gotta move pumps room to room. I mean, you just can't keep it stationary. So by pushing the heavy equipment around, it's a lot easier these days. Take a look at the wheels on the Essenz pump. Here you notice there are 3 positions. In the upper position is the casters run straight in the direction of travel, not sideways. The middle position, the casters move freely, and then the lower position is the locked position. So here's our rep, Phil. See Phil in orange scrubs. Phil didn't escape from jail. He's just wearing the vendor-approved color orange. So orange is the new blue. He's modeling our old S5 pumps. So here's one of our old pumps being dismantled to be shipped out. To give you an idea, most pumps on average have a lifespan of 10,000 hours in about 10 years. The pumps at Cleveland Clinic have a lifespan of 25,000 hours. So we really use our pumps and use them well. So I just want to say Phil and the LivaNova team have really know how to deliver and service our new pumps. So that is Punxsutawney Phil's home, but our Phil is Phil Man. So here's one happy Phil with our new Essenz pump. So we now have more pump heads in a smaller footprint. We want to thank Phil. That's the one thing that's important to us is footprint size, which I'm sure everybody, you can't take up a whole room. You get yelled at by the nurses especially. So here's what the Cleveland Clinic circuit looks like, and notice we do have the 3T heater cooler. The Essenz has the ability to control the 3T from the cockpit, and we'll get into the names of the machine itself. It's a personal preference for your institution on how you want to set up things. These pumps can also have the Essenz patient monitor for electronic charting. Since we have to use Epic at Cleveland Clinic, the Essenz pump does communicate with other electronic medical records. So let's talk about getting started. Stand up to power up. Walk onto the side of the pump, open the top cabinet, and power up. No bending needed. Not such a big deal for those just starting out in the profession, but a big deal for those of us nearing retirement. Once the screen opens, you activate your home button, and it has your updated software parameters. When running the case, we also need to disable, for us personally, the bubble detector on our cardioplegia system because we don't use a bubble detector for the plegia at Cleveland Clinic. If it's not deactivated for us, we'll know because we won't be able to run plegia. So let's get started and learn the terms of the Essenz. The first one is the cockpit. The first item we call the cockpit is the brains of the pump. And then if you look closely, my husband and I are wearing booties, so they're not just for the operating room anymore. We were in Hawaii, and they didn't want us to ruin the land, so they put booties on, and I was able to put those on really fast. I was very proud. So the cockpit from left to right has 3 sections, broken down into monitoring, dynamic, and navigation areas. The monitoring features all of the safety values that never go away. The purpose of the dynamic area is that it changes but never covers up the sensors on the left for the monitoring. The navigation is a slim panel on the far right for the timers, the plegia section, the heater cooler control, and it also opens up options for the changes in the dynamic window. The control section is on the bottom with the forward knob flows and RPMs. So after you power up, it's time to hit your profile button on the cockpit. I think we all know who this guy is by his profile. So I'm trying to use slides to help you remember the names because it took me forever to remember the names. So cockpit profile. So just remember the visuals. So with the Essenz pump, you can make it personal to your institution by using up to 12 different profiles for your perfusion group. At Cleveland Clinic, we keep it simplified by having only one choice. We have way too many opinions for personalizing. A way to remember how many profiles you can have, think of it this way. I'm showing you quarters, and turns out to be $3 worth of profiles due to inflation for the idea of penny for your thoughts. So this button customizes, the profile button customizes how many of your center and how you choose to run the pump for a particular case, such as alarms and thresholds. It's the button you hit on the cockpit to start the case after you power up. When running the case at the Cleveland Clinic, I also talked about how we had to disable the bubble detector on our Plesia system since we don't use a bubble alarm for it. But you can use it and activate it, and there's a way to also put the bubble sensor on the bag of Plesia itself, so if it gets too low, it will notify you. But if it's not deactivated, you won't be able to run it. So here we go. And here's the Essenz cockpit. What's nice, it's movable. So if you are taller, shorter than someone else who just ran the case, you have a student, they're in your way, you need to add a basket or a drop sucker at the last minute, you can move the cockpit around to be able to navigate using the pump. It's a nice feature to have. So let's start with the 3 areas of the cockpit, or we started with them. So the monitoring area includes blood flow, gas flow, safety features, and temperature. So now we're into the next section. This slide is an example of the monitoring area. As you can see, there are areas that these areas stay in the same place no matter what profile you use. Flow probes actually come in 4 different sizes, so you pick what's right for your circuit. At Cleveland Clinic, we only have 3 choices. The other 2 options are 1/2 inch or 3/16 inch. So on our venous lines, most people use a 1/2 inch tubing. We don't. So you can put flow probes on your venous side. We have 2 3/8 lines. Choices to make when blending your oxygen and room air with the gases. You can hit the gas button, slide the bar, or hit the plus/minus buttons, or even change your gases on the box that's also provided. When starting the case, we have it set in our profile with 2 liters of gas flow at 80%. That will stay on until you change it. The bubble alarm detects the equivalent on an S5 of medium bubbles. The level detector requires a sticker. The sticker technology upgrade here is in the level sensor and no longer in the pad. So here's a pic of what the alarms look like, and the bubble is on the left and the level is on the right, and the check mark means they are activated. Here is an example of when the bubble alarm went off, it both in sound and in color. When using the centrifugal pump, a bubble alarm will cause the arterial clamp to close. So this case, if you're looking closely at it, you see 2 different temperature probes, the venous and the arterial, and they're way off. I did a lung transplant case where we bypass the reservoir to make it an ECMO circuit, and this way if we have issues, we can convert to full bypass with changing the clamps around, adding more heparin. So this was my first time using the Essenz on a lung transplant case. And what typically we like to have is the bubble detector like up high in the venous line. So if there's any air, we can stop the case, tell the surgeon, walk out the air, and then stay on ECMO before having to convert to full bypass. Well, I didn't unplug the venous temperature probe, so that's why it's showing, a big temperature difference. So it really wasn't activated. It wasn't being used, so I did pull it later. But it kept triggering because forgetting that it's a level of medium-sized bubbles, we bicavally cannulated, and I had the bubble detector set up a little bit too high, so it was reading the flow change and the color change where it was false triggering. So then I moved it, and then it stopped triggering. So it's a learning curve. No matter what your caseload is, you need to give yourself time to figure it out and talk with your colleagues and the reps. So now we'll go into the dynamic part of the cockpit. Here's the cardioplegia area of the cockpit, or we call it the dynamic part. Here are the parameters available to manage plesia delivery. These will be set up in your personal profile. We use a few different types of cardioplegia at Cleveland Clinic. When we transitioned to Essenz, it was smooth and we were able to use our existing packs. Over time, we've made a few modifications because of using the smaller pump heads, and we used to use one pump head for both. So now we split it up. And this pump you see in the picture is for our microplegia. Here are the options for plesia delivery. At Cleveland Clinic, we keep the ratio 4:1 because our tubing pack has the adjustments needed for the various plesia options. It is set in tandem mode, so the white works when the pink runs. Like I said, we keep plesia in the 4:1 mode for the different types of plesia. When running the case, it's easiest to run the plesia mode from right before cross clamp goes on to right after clamp comes off. So whatever mode you're putting in, change it to the plesia mode. So now let's talk about the navigation. It's a slim panel on the far right for timers, selecting plesia, heater cooler control, and opens up options for changes in the dynamic window. Once again, the three components of the cockpit area are monitoring, dynamic, and navigation. How many of you try to pawn the battery test off to the next guy? Or at least think to yourself, I'll do it later, right? So the dreaded battery test. So we have Young there showing what we used to do, and now he's one happy guy because basically the battery test is in the cockpit and he just has to stand up. So save your body. And now here's a sign that we have at the Cleveland Clinic, and it's hanging up as soon as you come out of the elevators, and it reads, "Through these portals pass the world's greatest cardiothoracic and vascular teams." As perfusionists, we like to modify things. So I like to add the word perfusion in there. A lot of times people forget about us. So I need to thank my team, both at the Cleveland Clinic and LivaNova. It takes a village to make a presentation and a community to present it to. Thank you for your attention. And here's the Essenz pump and the Cleveland Clinic, our logo, "Every life deserves world-class care." So is anyone interested in the real puzzle from my taping of Wheel of Fortune? Do you want to see it? Okay, I'll let you solve it to see how it was presented to me and my mom during Family Week back in 1992. So it's a place. You have RSTLNE, and we picked the letters C, P, B, D, and A for the vowel. Anybody? You ready? We didn't guess it correctly. So it's okay. It was a great experience. So we would have won a prize package that included a Toyota 4Runner and a trip to Texas. So it's okay. Thanks again for your attention today. And we're going to do questions, but we're also going to do hands-on simulators. So we have the high fidelity with Khalifa, and we're going to have representation there. So if you want to come up and do that, or we can just play around with the low fidelity side. Thank you.
the exact same phone as me. You have the exact same phone as me. Yeah. I mean, is that an SC or is that's something larger? Is that? Yeah. No, it's the case. You've got an SC. You've got the two cameras. Yeah. I upgraded this from a 6, and I love it. Yeah. I am. Well, which part? Like the very beginning? Yeah. Yeah, that would be the time to do it, probably. Okay. You just text it to me? Okay.
I have that issue. Well, this one,